This mining pool is selling billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and this morning I had a report land on my desk that the largest mining pool in the cryptocurrency space, F2pool, which is responsible for over 15% of Bitcoin's hash rate, has been dumping hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin onto the market. In doing so, the data that I'm going to present to you in this video makes it sound as if this selling pressure of tens or maybe even over 100,000 Bitcoin has been suppressing the price of Bitcoin and has stunted the bull market that we should have seen form after Elon Musk put hashtag Bitcoin in his Twitter bio last Friday. This is a story of whistleblowers and institutional sellers and massive amounts of market manipulation potentially going on in our favorite industry. We're going to be talking about all of it and more in today's video. Shout out to Crypto R Us for breaking this story, but without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. It all started with this news article on Cointelegraph. Bitcoin's biggest mining pool may be behind the Bitcoin price drop, but buyers stepped in. Back up. Let's have some context for this. Who is F2pool and what are they doing? F2pool is a Chinese mining firm co-founded by Chun Wang, who we're going to talk about in a second, who's been responsible for mining over 1 million of the Bitcoin in existence today. As I said earlier, they make up over 15% of Bitcoin hash rate, and they are one of the big power players in the Bitcoin space that you may have never even heard of. And it seems like F2pool is dropping tens of thousands of Bitcoin onto the market. So let's look at this. Bitcoin fell to lows of $28,950 on January 22nd, thanks to miners likely selling huge amounts of their holdings. We're going to go through this story chronologically day by day, and I'm going to show you exactly what happened. This selling started right here on January 21st into January 22nd and was possibly responsible for this massive red candlestick that we saw earlier in the month. According to data from on-chain monitoring resource CryptoQuant, the past few days saw vast outflows from mining pools, which in turn corresponded to Bitcoin USD dropping 20% in a week. That again would be this correction here where Bitcoin fell 15% in one day and in total over 20% in 48 hours, pulling back 7,000 from 35 grand to 2850. Beginning on January 15, outflows from F2pool began to rise. By January 17th, daily outflows had reached over 10,000 Bitcoin worth $315 million for over 3 days in a row. If you look at this graph right here, you can see daily outflows of Bitcoin coming out of F2pool correlated to the price of Bitcoin. Notice with these 3 massive days where F2pool starts to move over 10,000 Bitcoin, we see a large drop in the price from 35 down to 30. What that means is that F2pool started selling here, sold all through here, and then we broke support at 35K, probably due to their selling pressure. And this actually explains quite a lot, guys, because we've been talking about the need for Bitcoin to have a correction, but quite frankly, Bitcoin has had a pretty big correction, and we are in the very beginning of a massive bull market. We are at the ground floor of what might be one of the largest dollar value bull markets in the history of Bitcoin. In fact, it already is. We are seeing mass adoption and amazing amounts of support from names like Elon Musk, Michael Saylor, and more. We're going to talk about all of those in a second. But to be quite honest with you, it does seem like Bitcoin could be a little bit more bullish than it is right now. And the strange thing is that F2pool actually denies selling this Bitcoin, moving this Bitcoin. They deny it, but their co-founder, who I mentioned earlier, Chun Wang, saying, quote, "That's why I just hashtag sold $4 billion worth of Bitcoin, hoping to exchange it for a one-way ticket to Mars." He admitted that they sold Bitcoin. In fact, F2pool later came out and admitted that they have sold just under 10% of their holdings. Now, again, remember what I said earlier. They've mined over 1 million Bitcoin in their existence, which means that even though they're downplaying that amount that they have just sold, that's potentially 100,000 Bitcoin that they've just dumped on exchange. That's almost 1% of all the Bitcoin in existence. So what does all this mean for Bitcoin? Let's back up. I want to show you the chart really quickly. We have been talking about over the last couple of weeks how Bitcoin needs to correct. Bitcoin needed to reset. F2pool was not responsible for this entire pullback, and I should note this is just a theory for the time being. But quite frankly, Bitcoin pulled back 31.5% over the course of 14 days. If you look back into our other videos, we've talked about how during bull markets, Bitcoin traditionally pulls back between 30 and 40% over the course of 14 to 60 days. We've seen that size of a pullback. Maybe Bitcoin needs a little bit more, but quite frankly, if you look at the technical indicators like our rapidly converging MACD on daily chart, you look at the double bottom and the uptrend on daily chart RSI, and you look at our big volume candlesticks that have come in recently, you look at the fact that that Elon Musk put hashtag Bitcoin in his Twitter bio and jumped us 14% in an hour. I mean, look at this candlestick. Tell me that is not a very bullish candlestick. 18% in 2 hours. And then Elon Musk comes out saying that he's a fan and a supporter of Bitcoin, thinks it's going to be the future. We even have the potential of Tesla starting to adopt Bitcoin in the future. We also have a conference from Michael Saylor coming up tomorrow where he's going to be talking to all kinds of industry insiders and executives trying to get them interested in Bitcoin. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. And you start to wonder, why isn't it that Bitcoin is in a bigger rally? Why is it that Bitcoin's only trading at $34,500? Why is Bitcoin not at $40,000? Is it because F2pool may have just sold up to 100,000 Bitcoin on exchange? It's possible. We don't know. And I want you to understand this. I am not incriminating F2pool. And by the way, if they're selling their Bitcoin, they have every right to do that. I'm not trying to throw F2pool under the bus. Just because they're selling might be having an impact on the market does not necessarily mean it's intentional, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's criminal. The question we have to come to is, are they suppressing the price intentionally? That would be market manipulation, and that is a running theory. You see, one of the theories of why F2pool might be selling this much money is because they understand that they have the amount of Bitcoin required to push the price down and effectively short the market in a market manipulation fashion, selling Bitcoin, driving the price down, buying back in lower, and profiting the difference. This is the kind of thing that people make movies about, guys. You've seen The Big Short, you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street, you've seen movies like this. This is the kind of thing that if that is what they are doing, this could go into a movie one day. Is it going to? Probably not. But my point is, if they are selling with the express purpose of driving the market down and pushing the market down and manipulating the market, there is a very big problem with that, because as a decentralized ecosystem, we should not be able to have our price manipulated by a central authority in the space like F2pool. So that's one running theory. This story is still developing. We'll be keeping you up to date. But the second theory is that they might just be selling because they want to expand. And this is why I say this might be one of the most bullish adoption stories of this year. You might be wondering, Jeb, everything you've just said sounds like bearishness, sounds like manipulation, but of the two theories, number one is market manipulation. Of the second theory, it could be that they're selling Bitcoin to buy more mining equipment. Those are actually both very good things for the market, because what does it speak to? It speaks to the concept that either way, F2pool is very bullish on the future of Bitcoin, and this is going to lead into a topic that we're going to discuss tomorrow with power players stepping into the cryptocurrency space. F2pool, no matter how you slice what they're doing of selling Bitcoin, it's actually a bullish thing. They're selling their Bitcoin either one, so they can have cash on hand to buy more miners, upgrade their hash power, and make more money as Bitcoin continues to rally, or they might be selling Bitcoin to short it effectively, buying back in lower, knowing the market is going to bounce. That is likely what they are doing. An organization as large as F2pool, with as many resources as F2pool has, is too smart to be selling Bitcoin while it's going down. You see power players and whales sell Bitcoin when it's going up all the time, because that's the smart thing to do. It's very rare that you see whales selling Bitcoin while the market is moving down. They know better than that. They know better than to sell the dips and buy the tops. They know how to work in this space. Remember, F2pool is the largest mining pool in the industry. They've been around for 7.5 years. So I want to hear your theories on this. And again, shout out to Crypto R Us for breaking this, for talking about this. Shout out to Cointelegraph. Shout out to BitBoy. Shout out to everyone talking about this. This is something that needs more research. We need a community effort here to figure out what exactly is going on. And if there is a problem here, we need to see what we can do about it. To wrap out this video, I want to reiterate my point of why this is such a good thing for Bitcoin. It's because no matter which way you slice it, F2pool is actually bullish on Bitcoin. Again, like I said earlier, tomorrow, Michael Saylor is going to be getting with a ton of industry insiders and talking about Bitcoin. Elon Musk has verbally and Twitterally on Twitter expressed his support for Bitcoin. Those are both huge adoption stories, and we're going to be covering them again tomorrow. This conference that Michael Saylor is holding is huge. Again, remember, MicroStrategy is the massive company that has bought hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. We're going to talk about all of that and more in tomorrow's video, so make sure you subscribe for that. Like I said earlier, this is still a developing story, and I will be keeping you guys posted as we continue. By the way, you may notice I finally got a haircut. I think it looks pretty good. Tell me in the comment section down below if you like it. Shout out to my barber. His name's Corey. I'm going to put his Twitter right down here. It's called Corey_the_barber. He is so good at cutting hair, and you should follow him because he's got some fly cuts over on his Instagram. You can get some ideas for what you want your hair to look like over there. He's a great guy. I'm sure he'll respond to you if you DM him. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it out for today's video. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.